Hey everyone, it's Jeanette with Untamed and Unapologetic. Today I am here with one of my best friends, Keisha. Keisha, introduce yourself and tell the world how we know each other.
Well, my name is Keisha Watkins, and I currently live in Johnson City, Texas. And I met Jeanette through the Lauren Lahav community in the TLC Collective and found out she only lives a few miles away in San Antonio. So it's been pretty awesome because we probably never would have met if not for meeting in Vegas. And we live less than an hour away from each other.
That's insane.
Because now you're going to be in my life forever. And
Yes,
thank
absolutely.
us together. So
Yeah.
I live here in Texas. I'm a nurse. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. I'm a wife. And my husband and I have built an amazing retreat space, event space here in Johnson City by just following that dream and that desire in our gut and deciding to take a chance without needing to explain it to everybody else.
I love that. I love that. And remind me to talk a little bit more about that gut feeling that you had and that desire and that journey, because so many of us have that gut feeling, like that urge to do something, and we don't listen to it. We tell it to be quiet because the fear creeps in, all the things happen. And your story is amazing. So I want people to know how y'all followed that for sure. And her event space, guys, is freaking amazing. And they have these lovely cabins that you can go with your family and you can stay out there. There's so much to do over in Johnson City. It's near Fredericksburg. So there's wine, there's whiskey, there isn't there like a gin? And
There's all of the distilleries. You can get any kind of alcohol you want in this area, but there's also the national parks, the LBJ, Texas White House. I mean,
Mhm.
anybody can find what they like here. If you like shopping, if you like drinking, if you like hiking, or if you just want to come and unplug and just be quiet. We have quite a few couples that come here at the beginning of the year, and it's really cool. We have one couple that actually she comes the first week and he stays home with the family. Then they trade and they set out their year. They have their alone time. They design and create their vision for what they want the year to be, and they each have their own private time to do it, which I think is a fantastic idea.
I think that's an amazing idea. And not a lot of us allow ourselves to have that time, especially married couples. It's always just like go, 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 go. And we forget that we need time to ourselves.
And we need to decide what it is that we want for the next year. There's always things in the couple that you want, but there's
Mhm.
also things individually that I may want or that Chad may want that we need time to think about and create on our own and then come together and see, okay, this is my goal, this is your goal, my vision, your vision, and then what's our vision together? It doesn't have to be the same for both of us.
Yeah, and I love that because I don't think enough of us do that in our daily lives. And I'm a therapist, right? We all know that I see couples and I see individuals, and so many of them come with struggles in their not only their own life, but in their marriage. But I think it's because we don't take the time to actually sit down and plan together, right?
Yeah.
And the planning part is so important, and we forget to do it.
Yes, and something that I'm learning, later on in life that I wish I would have learned sooner is it's okay for us to have different. We don't
Mhm.
have to have the same. We don't have to always feel the same about everything. We don't have to believe the same thing. It's just that's the balance. That's what makes it beautiful is being surrounded by other people in your life that don't think exactly the same as you do. And that's not typically how I was raised. I was raised majority of the time around people that thought like me, had the same dreams as I did, had the same goals and ambitions. And then, I get in this new community where people are completely different than me, and I get to watch them and see what are they here to teach me? What are they here to open my eyes to or my mind to, and how can I switch my thinking or my judgments basically that I've had. I mean, you and I have gone through that because you come into this group like a whirlwind, and I'm like, "Who is this woman?" And I love it, and it scares me at the same time because she just is so free to be herself, and, okay, I need some of that in my life. I need to learn how to be a little bit more free as myself and not so concerned with what other people will think
Mhm.
or what they might say or how this may look. And so, I mean, that's a huge gift that you've given me ever since I've known you is just watching you and being like, "Okay, I can take that one little baby step moving forward."
Yeah, and believe it or not, like, just like you and before I even met these women that we're part of, like, I used to believe that I had to like, blend in, right? Like, that we couldn't speak up, that we shouldn't say things, and that we shouldn't post things like me pole dancing, like, my mom would have killed me back in the day, and now she's like, "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious." And so, it's just how we evolve, right? Tell me a little bit more about how you evolved to become where you are now and kind of like put in that journey piece that we were talking about earlier. Because like you said, like you met me and you met a bunch of people who now do things outside of the box and you can be different. You don't have to have the same beliefs as your husband or your best friend. Like you can be two different people and actually build a life together and it's okay.
Yes. Yes, and
Mhm.
I think our journey is our life, you know? I mean, when you're little, you're raised a certain way, you think a certain way, you only know what you're exposed to. And I can start off as simple as we moved quite a bit when I was a kid. Every couple years, his company would merge with another company and we would move to a different territory. And I know this sounds really funny, but when I was born in Kansas and then we moved to Oklahoma. So I was pretty much surrounded by Caucasian people my whole life. You know, I mean, it was a little bit of a blend, but not much. And then we moved to Louisiana. And in my school, I wouldn't say I was the minority, but there was definitely more ethnicity in that school than I had ever seen in my life. So I
Mhm.
spent some time in Louisiana, then I moved to Texas. Well, now we have different kinds of ethnicity in there. And then we lived in California for a while, and you grab a whole nother group of people and different cultures and different beliefs and religions. And so I've just picked up little things along the way.
Mhm.
And then as I look at my life, you know, there's things that happen in your teenage years and struggles that you have. I was talking with one of my girlfriends yesterday about being 13 or 14. And if you didn't have a moment where you're like, why am I here? What good do I bring to the world? I disappoint people. We all have that time, but there's so many times you feel like you're the only one that had that time until you get around other women and actually have real conversations and find
Yeah.
out we've all been there.
Yeah, but how often does that actually happen, right? That we actually take the time to join something and ask other women or other people, period, about their lives. That's so rare.
We just don't. I feel like we want to hear and see all the pretty things. But it's typically the messy things that make us who we are. It's not the clean and neat and pretty things. You know, you go through struggles. I was a single mom pretty much for about 10 years. I had some little hiccups in there along the way, but it was something I could take as a negative, and there were hard days, but it was
Mhm.
also one of those things that it's like, I know you can relate. Your child loves you unconditionally. You are the most beautiful person they've ever seen. You're the smartest. You can do anything. And I mean, I don't put that pressure on my child that she needed to be that person for me. She just was.
Yeah,
It didn't matter if your day's bad or whatever challenges you're having, they love you unconditionally. So
I really do.
that and your family, I mean, it's just you need that in your life. Along with
Mhm.
friends, you need people that are not required to love you for who you are and where you're
Mhm.
at, kick you in the butt when you need it, and cheer you
Yes.
on when you need that too.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know how important it was to have friends, especially girlfriends. Growing up, I was very quiet, very shy. believe it or not, I did not have friends. I didn't. I didn't know how to make friends. I was weird. And so and so in adulthood, I remember like looking at other groups of women and like sorority sisters, and they went to college together and they bonded in the dorm rooms. Like I never had that. I lived with my parents growing up. Like I never went to a dorm room. And so I would see them get married and have all these bridesmaids, and I was like, "Who is gonna even be my bridesmaid?" Like, I didn't even have anyone. The only person that I hung out with was my sister, and so it was very odd, and then I step into this new version of myself, right? That's craving connection and craving, just talking to other people, especially women, and I didn't realize how important it was or that we need it until just like, I don't know, 5 years ago?
Yes. Mine, I had little touches of it in my life,
Mhm,
and I've always had a ton of friends. Like, friends are very important to me. I've always been very social and out
mhm,
there. But at the same time, I look back through years and wonder how many times was I a certain friend or a certain way because that's what was expected of me versus how I really felt, what I really wanted to say, how I really wanted to act. I've always been very good at being a chameleon. And whatever group I'm in, I can fit into that group or I can mold myself to fit the mold they're looking for, whether it's boyfriend or friend or
mhm,
work, it didn't matter. I was very good at molding. But then I met this, group of women and I met real women and they don't need me to mold to anything. They ask me, "Who are you at your core? What do you believe? What do you think?
mhm.
What's important to you?" They don't need me to be a certain way. They want me to figure out who I am and just be that, which
Yeah.
is new to me, and it's funny to do it later on in life. It would be so much better if we could learn this so much earlier. How many more people would follow their passion, would follow their dreams, would affect their career, their marriage,
Mhm,
relationships, if they know a little bit more about who they are and in the gut, like you were saying, what really lights them up and what really
mhm.
fuels them.
Yeah, I was talking about this multiple times over the past couple of days. Whenever clients come in, uh, especially if they're young, their parents are all always asking me, well, like, why don't they understand this? And like, when are they going to heal? And all these things. And I think part of the answer to this question is our frontal lobes, right? We're not fully developed in our frontal lobe. And that's like who we are and what we love and how we do life, right? The belief systems and all of that isn't fully created within a human until they're about 21 to what, 25 years old. And I think that has a lot to do with why we pick this up so much later in life. And then, of course, some of us aren't that in touch with emotions, so it takes us even a little bit longer. And so around 30, 40, we start to get the memo and we're like, "Oh, we could actually do this a different way." And I hear so many women say like they didn't start life until they were 40 years old because that's when you actually understand that you can be whoever you want to be. Because before that, I mean, we're scared of everything. Like, let's hide, right? I can't let them know that I believe this or go to these things or have dreams or any of
I
that.
eat chocolate cake in the dark. Like,
Yeah,
that you're
exactly. But why not?
there is no reason why not. And I don't know about you, Jeanette, but, like, if I think back, and say, "Okay, my frontal lobe wasn't fully developed, I was 21 to 25." I made some major life decisions between the age of 20 and 25 that actually were the things that showed me what I wanted, what I didn't want, what I would
Mhm,
tolerate, what I wouldn't tolerate. So it's kind of interesting because I would say my frontal lobe was developed because I knew after I made the decisions, it was like, that wasn't the best.
yeah,
So maybe
I
we
know.
gotta go through all of that to get to our 30s and 40s and know, okay, I don't want to do that ever again. Oh, that was pretty good. Let's do that again. It's just weird
Exactly.
to think back and see the other women that experience it at the same time we do.
Yeah.
So they wake up at 40, at 50. I think every year moving forward, just
Mhm.
you have the opportunity to get better.
Exactly, and I think we have the capacity, older we are, to, like, take in all of the things, the good, the bad, the ugly, and, like, just kinda piece it together in a way to be like, "Oh, okay, that didn't work for me, so who do I need to reach out to ask how to do that better so that it works better for me later on?" Like, I don't think we even get brave enough to share those moments in our life until we are older.
Yeah, I also think about it is, they say hindsight is 2020. And I think by the time we get to our late 30s is you can actually see
Yeah.
back far enough to see why this happened the way it happened. Maybe things were working for me, not against me. I can see now what I couldn't see then.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think it's around this time while like, I always see those little, what are they called? Like, the little memes or reels or whatever,
Mhm.
right, on Instagram, and they say, like, the average age of a billionaire or a millionaire or all these things, and it's nobody's young. They're
No,
always late 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's because I don't think we understand life until then.
I don't know that we've been through enough to
Mhm.
know where we wanna go and what we wanna do. We haven't tried enough.
Mm-mm.
So it's even though I would love to have learned all of this stuff sooner when I was younger, I don't know if that's possible because I think you have to
Wow.
take chances and make mistakes and get things right, get things wrong to
Mhm.
solidify certain pieces of ourselves.
Exactly, which kind of brings me to ask you about this dream and this passion. When did it awake inside of you? How old were you and your husband? Because y'all did this together. How old were you? And how were you able to get there? Because this is a big thing that y'all did. So talk
I
to
have
me.
to do let me do some math here because I don't
Uh-huh.
remember how old I was when this happened. So let me do some quick math.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I was 32.
About right.
About 32, when my husband and I were planning our wedding, and I just knew I didn't want a traditional wedding with reception. I wanted a weekend. I wanted all
Mhm.
if we're spending all this money and all these people are coming together and I have people from out of state and I have friends. If I'm doing this, I want it to be a whole weekend. I want to
Yeah.
experience everything. And I wanted it laid back and I wanted it to feel like us,
Mhm.
not like we were putting on a show or doing something to impress others. So I found a property up in the mountains where we could house 60 of our family and friends on site. We got the whole property for the whole weekend. I want to say it was $10,000.
That's not bad.
No, we could bring in all of our own food, our own alcohol, decorations, rentals, whatever we wanted. And I've
Mhm.
always been super creative and super crafty, and I love saving money, doing things myself, even if it takes a little bit more time and money, which
Mhm.
we all know I like to do things. So we got married. We had the weekend event. Everybody just said that was so awesome and relaxed and fun.
Mhm.
So, every now and then after we were married, we would sit and talk. And it's like, one of these days, I think I want to do that. Chad would say, yeah, that'd be really cool. And then we just go back to our normal jobs and our security, with good paying jobs, a wonderful house, raising a child. But it always came up like, what would we have to do to be able to do something like that? So we currently lived
Mhm.
in California at that time. And so we started doing research. What does it look like to find a property to do that? How do you find out the permits? Just finding out all the answers to all the questions. And
Mhm.
then we realized looking through it, we don't have enough money to do this here right now. Like it's just so expensive.
Not in California.
So then it was like, okay, well, what business could we get into that would get us into the wedding industry to just start seeing what could happen? So we
Mm.
got involved in a photo type franchise. And it was like, this is it. We're going to get in with all the planners. We're going to figure out what's going on. Well, surprising to say, it just took more time, more energy than it was worth. So
Hmm.
we got out of that franchise, which costs money. I mean, we lost a bunch of money that we had saved up. We've always been very good savers. And so I was like, okay, we'll let that go. We'll keep working our secure jobs, but it wouldn't go away. Like that feeling wouldn't go away. And so we kept doing our research and we knew we wanted to come back to Texas someday. Like we both had said we wanted to come back to Texas. So when our daughter was graduating, we said, okay, now's the time. We're going to Texas. You can come, you can stay, but we're out.
Hmm.
We just started the journey of finding property and then just working every day, learning as we go, building this place one piece at a time, one stage at a time. And it's fantastic that we didn't know everything it was going to entail to build this property. Because if someone had told me all the steps I was going to need to do and all the things I was going to need to live without, I would not have done it. I can promise you. I would have been like, well, I'm keep my secure job. I'm out.
It's definitely more comfortable to not be an entrepreneur.
Yes, it is. It's so much like, I think back all the time, I'm like, we had these jobs, we went on vacation, we bought things when we wanted it. Like, there's just so much to that.
Mhm.
Also, I never got the feeling in the past when we were living in California working our great jobs, I never drove into my driveway and was like, "Ah, this." Here, every time I drive in the driveway to this piece of property, I just take a big sigh. I know this is my home. I know this is my land. This is where I'm supposed to be. I fully, wholeheartedly believe that when God opens doors for you, you walk through them. And
Mhm.
that's what the last 5 years have been for us. We pray and we ask God, if you gave us this dream in our gut and you put this inside of us, we need you to open the doors and show us what you want us to do and where you want us to go. So
Yeah.
that's been a huge leap of faith. That'll teach
Mhm.
you about faith real quick.
Oh, yeah. I've had a couple of those stories myself.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do a lot in the last, what, year,
2
actually.
years. Yeah. It's 2 years have been ups and downs and, like, you got some wins, but then you get kicked down onto the floor, and it's those moments when you get kicked on the floor that you're like, "Oh, man," the little voice creeps in. It's like, "Are you sure you wanna do this? Don't you just wanna just go back to what it's easy?" And then I have to come back to myself, and I'm like, "Hold on. I didn't take out my entire teacher retirement to just not move forward."
Right.
Mhm.
And at the same time, sometimes it feels like you start climbing that hill, and right
Mhm.
when you get to the towards the top, all the boulders come down, and you slide back down to the bottom of the hill, and you gotta start the climb again. But eventually you're gonna get up there, and eventually you're gonna go
Mhm.
over that mountain and get to enjoy some of the downhill.
Mm.
But we just don't know how long that's gonna take and when that time's gonna
Yeah.
come.
And in my case, I mean, I got the downhill a long time ago and it was grand. Like everything was great. And then like I had to start climbing again. And so now I'm climbing again and climbing again. And of course, when you start one business, you like to start multiple others, like y'all kind of did also. You
Yes,
not only have the cottages, but now you have the event center.
yes.
So they're like 2 businesses within themselves, and I have the same thing. So now we're trying again to climb and climb and climb and climb and find out, okay, well, now how do I do this?
I think of it like you're being an entrepreneur and chasing your dream is like being in a mountain range, right?
Mhm.
There, you're going to go up one and go down and decide you want to try a bigger one. And then there's going to be uphill and downhill. And
Mhm.
rarely is there a mountain that sits all by itself without any other hills or peaks or valleys around it.
Mhm.
But, it's life. I know when my life is over that I've used it,
Yeah,
and I bet you could say the same thing. Like you used your
absolutely.
time here on earth and you have done things with your life and your
Yeah.
time.
And I think that's kind of what life is all about, right? Experiences. And what kind of experiences are you willing to take to have these bigger experiences and meet these people that could open doors to your life and just being around people and taking those risks that they take also, and creating this community of risk takers that love to have these experiences that I would have never had if I would have stayed a school teacher and school counselor. Like, I would have never done the things that I've done.
Yes. It's this I mean, I could have stayed a nurse forever and had
Mhm.
a great income, a great retirement, and focused solely on that. But when you have that burning desire in your heart to do something more or something different,
Mhm.
you don't have to go all in, but you do have to start taking steps towards
Yeah.
it to find out, is it real? Is this my idea or is this
Mhm.
actually in my gut? You gotta work on it and move through it. If you just stay stuck writing on a piece
Mhm.
of paper or dreaming about it, then it just stays on the piece of paper.
Yeah. And I just got to throw this out there because I know being an entrepreneur myself, I'm single, right? Well, I have a boyfriend, but I'm pretty much by myself in this business, in this entrepreneurship. And I I look up to you and Chad so much because y'all do it together and y'all are still married. And it is so hard, especially when you hit those down slopes and you're getting kicked. I mean, personally, I'm so glad I have people I can talk to about it, but to have someone that's invested in it with me, like that's a whole other ball game. So I don't
Yeah,
know how y'all do that.
we've talked about it and there's been so many different I guess different stages of our relationship.
Mm.
He worked a lot away from home when we were first married, and going from being a single mom to married, the blessing is that my daughter has known my husband since she was a baby. He's been, in the family, around the family. So that made that part easier. But it also helped because when he was gone, then it was just Caitlin and I going back to how it was when it was just the 2 of us. So it made
Mhm.
for a nice transition of him being there to when he was there, full time all the time in the dad role.
Mhm.
And so we move out here to this property and we're in, the relationship, the husband and wife role doing this together. But then there's days where I'm sure I felt like his boss and he felt like my boss.
Yeah.
And when you're struggling in the business or you don't agree or you have a difference of opinion, I still got to sleep next to him every night, whether I'm happy or not. And
Yeah.
your brain does things, like the mind will, whatever you focus on is where you're going to go. So if I think of him as my boss, then that doesn't leave room for me to be his wife. So you got to really be in control of your mind and your emotions and be grateful. The things that my husband does that annoy me are also the same things that made me fall in love with him and that make us work because he's different than me.
Yeah.
So I have to remind myself all the time, like, well, that's one of the things I loved about him when I met him because he doesn't think the same as me and his brain works differently. And then there's days where it's just like, well, why can't you just think this way? Why can't you just do it this way? And I'm sure he feels the same about me because it's just an interesting balance. One day, one of us is on a positive high note and the other
Yeah.
one's low. The good thing is rarely are we on the same page where we're both on a low at the same time. So I
Which is
consider
good.
that a win.
Yeah, that is really good. Yeah, but I always look at y'all and I'm just like, I don't know how they do it because me by myself, I can barely do it. But with adding somebody else, I don't know, I'd probably be divorced.
No, you can do it. You could do it. I have no doubt you're gonna find someone that supports you, and then you're gonna go on this journey together, and then you're gonna understand what I'm talking about when you look at him and go, "What? What?"
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Well, today we've kind of like covered a lot of things that I didn't even expect we were going to cover and go over. But what would you say, like from coming to that stage in life where you're like, okay, I'm ready to be this other person, to following that desire deep in your heart and doing it with someone that you love? What would you give to our audience? What is like one or two things that you would tell them if they're struggling or they're maybe in their early 30s or late 20s and they're trying to figure out who they are or what they want to do, or maybe they're 40, 50, and they have this burning desire to do something, right? But they don't know where to start or where to begin or what to do. What would you tell those viewers to help them?
Would say the one thing that has kept us going and myself going is you don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to know the plan. You don't have to know what the end goal is going to be. You
Mhm.
put one foot in front of the other and you do one thing at a time that moves you closer to that dream. And sometimes it's not knowing what you want, it's knowing what you don't want
Mm.
anymore. For me to get involved in the TLC and the group of ladies where, you and I met was a matter of something's missing.
Mhm.
There should be more than this. I feel like I'm missing something. I can't see it and the people around me can't see it. I need to get in a group of people who don't know me, who are different than me, that can see where I'm at and pull out the things in me that I no longer feel like I have the access to.
Mm.
So I think definitely you gotta keep connecting yourself with people and relationships and try new things and just take one step at a time. Maybe you
Mhm.
Google one thing, learn one thing. That's a success.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's great advice. So today I had somebody show up to my little event that I was hosting, and he asked me a similar question that I just asked you. And I said, I don't even remember what I told him, but it was along the lines of show up. Show up
Mhm.
wherever you feel like you need to be, whether, like you said, it's just a little Google of how would I do this? Or asking ChatGPT, how do I do this? Just showing up is so great. And like you said, connections, having connections with people, building connections with people that you don't know, because that leads us to places I probably would have never seen before.
Mhm. And just, yeah, don't be afraid
Hmm.
of new things. Your gut, if it got you this far, it can keep moving you forward. If it feels like it's not the right thing and it's wrong, then don't do it. But if something just feels a little bit scary, but it doesn't feel bad, then do it. See what happens.
Mhm. Mhm. And how would you tell them to do it? Because, I mean, you got that little push one day and you took some steps in that direction. What do they need to do to rip the Band-Aid off?
Just make a decision. Just in the moment, make a decision. Don't think about all the possibilities. Like, sit with yourself, be quiet, and make a decision. There's certain times in life you'll have to have a discussion with someone. I mean, when you went to go hike the Camino, right?
Mhm.
There's certain things you have to set up. You gotta have someone to take care of Barrington. You have to
Mhm.
you have to have things set up, but
Mhm.
you also had the spark that, "Hey, I need to do this. I wanna do this." So you started taking the steps to
Yeah,
see that it really wasn't that difficult to arrange it and figure it out. And then
exactly.
you do it, and there's such a sense of accomplishment when
Mhm.
it's done that, "Hey, I figured this out. I bet I could figure out something a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging."
Mhm. Mhm. And let's do it again, right?
You know what we learned was it a couple weekends ago when we had the retreat was things don't get easier, you just get better at the hard. And that has stuck with me ever since I heard it, is
Yeah.
because I even catch myself saying, "Oh, when this happens, it'll be easier. And once this happens, it'll be better and it'll be easier." And
Mhm.
that's not true when you're growing a business.
Yeah.
There's new struggles, there's new challenges. You just get better at it.
I like that. And I think it's very true because, I mean, there's always going to be bad in life, whether it's in business or whether it's just in regular life, right? And you can't not have bad because I feel like every time there's bad, there's growth. And then, like you said, you just get better at the bad.
Yeah, Amanda told me, you know, Amanda in our group, she told me one time for something new to grow, something has to die.
Mhm.
And so that is stuck in my head too. Just these little sayings that stick with me. And it's like, okay, this isn't working. So I'm going to have to pivot. Oh, yeah. Amanda told me in order for something else to grow, something has to die. Okay. So let's put that one away and let's move on to the next
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Keisha. I was so excited to have you today on the podcast, and I hope to see you soon.
You will. You will see me soon. And I'm so happy that you're only an hour away from me and that we get to continue learning from each other and challenging each other and supporting each other
Mhm.
and doing our little coffee dates.
Which we need to schedule, by the way.
To schedule another one.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. That is it for today on Untamed and Unapologetic. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to Untamed and Unapologetic. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe. Stay connected, and we'll see you at the next one.